Hey everyone, Sigam here. In this video we will talk about warrior archer heroes and we'll see how to properly build and upgrade some lineups throughout different stages of the game for both free-to-play and spenders. Warrior archers tend to be more effective in the early game for spenders because they typically rely on premium heroes that are not accessible for free-to-plays. We will still see what we can do as free-to-play early on with what we have to be able to counter swordsman heroes until more powerful heroes are unlocked. Warrior archers are excellent high DPS heroes that will tear through your enemies throughout the game, so let's see how we can manage that through hero combination, ring pairings, skills, gems and synergies. Let's dive in and start cooking. Our first lineup here is Josephine, Derek and Attila. All of these heroes are obtainable as free-to-play. Josephine is a tavern hero, King Derek is unlockable through an in-game event called the Giant's Roar, and Attila is a wheel hero. Let's start by saying that this composition is not optimal. King Derek does not fit this lineup perfectly well and forces us to use route-based skills to benefit from his signature skill, but we'll get to that when we talk about customizable skills. Let's say he's better paired with swordsmen and is just a placeholder for now until we unlock Bellevue as free-to-play. This lineup, while not the greatest, can still help you counter swordsmen early on since they will be the most common choice for other free-to-play players. If you want to play warrior archers later on, invest in Attila as you will keep him throughout the game. He also makes a perfect fit for warrior cavalry, which is a good late game composition for free-to-plays too, so ranking him up is never really a bad option. Let's see what our heroes' skill sets look like. Josephine's commander skill is a decent single target burst ability with a quick charging rate, especially for the first cast. She's very good to have early on to clear most events and will be strong in 1v1 situations thanks to her commander skill being a reliable ability. Her secondary strike signature skill deals damage to your enemy and will also heal your troops. Let's note right now that aside from King Derek, all warrior archers' skill sets revolve around secondary strike skills. These skills have a chance to be activated every time your heroes launch a normal attack. In Age of Empires Mobile, every hero launches a normal attack during his turn, but this number can be increased thanks to the double attack stance. This stance can therefore increase the chances of activating secondary strike skills, since you will deal more normal attacks per turn. Back to our Josephine. Her stars are pretty generic and will empower her signature skill with time. None of them will drastically change her gameplay or power. King Derek's active signature skill will deal damage to the enemy and increase the damage they take if they are in the rout state, which is why we will need to adjust our customizable skills later on to play around this. His stars don't really matter until the rank 5, where he will increase by 20% the might damage from your team. Thankfully, King Derek can easily be upgraded to 5 stars by just playing the game with your alliance and not missing the early Giant's Roar event. Attila's signature skill will allow your heroes to enter the double attack state, which is a very good signature skill for our warrior archers. In our case here, it will not be really useful to King Derek since he doesn't have any secondary strike skills, which is why he doesn't really synergize well here, but it will be really useful for Josephine. His stars are good, his first rank being a very good one since it will increase your commander's might. His third rank is decent and his fifth rank will be game changer since it will increase your commander's might damage by 35% whenever his signature skill is activated. Obviously getting to rank 5 takes a long time to grind, but it's always nice to see what awaits you if you plan on playing the game long enough. Regarding customizable skills, as always, we'll keep one epic skill per hero early on. We'll keep Thunder on both Josephine and Derek to benefit from Derek's signature skill's passive trait. We'll take Earth Crush on Derek for that same reason, and Weak Spot Attack on Josephine for more damage. We'll keep Armor Piercer on Attila to debuff the enemy's armor, and we'll take Warrior's Hymn to boost our commander's fighting abilities. That's basically it for our early free-to-play warrior archer march. Like I said earlier, it is not the most optimized lineup to exist, but it is the best we can do with what we have early on until Bellevue is unlocked. Spenders have more choices early on. This lineup, Mulan, Josephine and Attila, is a very strong early composition that revolves around Mulan's DPS abilities. She is unlockable and upgradable through in-game bundles. Cavalry being weak in the early stages of the game and much free-to-play going swordsmen, these warrior archers tend to be unmatched. Let's see what Mulan is made of. Her commander skill is a high DPS burst ability that targets a single enemy. The first cast is very quick since she enters combat with 150 rage out of the 250 necessary. Her signature skill is very good too, dealing 1 instance of damage to the enemy with a 50% chance to become 3 instances of smaller might damage. Overall though, the 3 instances combined obviously deal more damage than the single instance of might damage. Her stars are excellent as well, since they will empower the signature skill and more specifically the 3 instances of damage. Her first rank will increase by 10% the damage of each instance of her signature skill's damage. Her third rank will increase the activation chance, and her 5th rank is a huge power spike, since it will increase the trigger chance of the multi-instance damage by 35%, making it 85% total, and will increase the multi-instance damage rate by 40%. Since you deal 3 instances of damage, that's a massive upgrade, and if you get to that rank, you'll shred your enemies. Of course, her signature skill is a secondary strike ability, and thanks to Attila's double attack stance, she is much more likely to activate it every turn. For customizable skills, we'll take Act of Mercy and Weak Spot Attack on Mulan to emphasize on her DPS abilities. I chose to not take the double attack skill, since I prefer to rely only on Attila's signature skill to provide the double attack stance, but this is a personal choice. You can use double attack instead of Act of Mercy if you want to have more chances to enter this state. For Josephine, we'll take Weak Spot Attack and Protracted Battle, a very good healing ability that fits our double attack based team perfectly. Finally, we'll take Critical Insight and Warrior's Hymn on Attila to empower Mulan. Now, if you're a bigger spender, another alternative is available early on. Let's have a look at it. Our lineup this time is Mulan, Attila and Rani. We sacrifice the sustain given by Josephine to use Rani instead and have a composition purely made to assist Mulan on dealing damage, emphasizing on our high DPS abilities. This may be one of the strongest compositions early on, but is very oriented towards the spender side as it requires both Attila and Rani to be rank 5 to reach its peak strength. Rani's signature skill is pretty similar to Attila's. It will give a chance to enter the double attack stance, but will only do so for the hero that plays right after her, in our case Mulan. It will also boost this hero's might by a good amount. Her ranks are pretty good, especially her 1st and 5th ones. Her 1st star will increase further the hero's might buffed by her signature skill, while her 3rd rank increases her signature skill's activation chance. Her 5th rank is pretty similar to Attila's and will give the next hero 33% more might damage for 3 seconds. If you combine Attila and Rani's 5th ranks, you'll end up with an overbuffed commander that will simply destroy everything on its path. We'll keep playing around Mulan for our customizable skills. Mulan's skills are the same, while Attila will keep the epic skill Armor Piercer to shred the enemy's armor. He keeps Critical Insight to boost Mulan from his position. Rani will take Kingsblade and Warrior's Hymn to further empower Mulan. Let's now have a look at what rings we could take before Bellevue is unlocked, in case she only becomes available after rings are obtainable in-game. Small disclaimer here. The rings I chose are made to emphasize on the offensive side or warrior archers. If you want to go for a safer build, you can use and keep defensive generic rings like the Ring of Badger, Tranquil Water, the Ring of Clover, etc. However, you will notice that the lineups will tend more and more towards an explosive composition rather than a safe one, mostly because warrior archers lack a proper defensive support right now. Let's first notice that regarding customizable skills for this composition, we replaced Josephine and Attila's epic skills for legendary ones, namely Double Attack for Josephine and Critical Insight for Attila. For rings, we'll take the Ring of Nightwolf to increase our secondary strike skill's damage at the cost of our armor. To use this ring to the best of its ability, we place it on the hero with the highest might in our composition. It's on Attila here because if we take the base stats into account, Attila should have more. However, please check your hero's might and place this ring accordingly. We'll always equip it on the hero with the highest might throughout this guide. We'll take the Ring of Bear for more might damage at the cost of our armor again. Finally, we take the Ring of Clover for more tankiness and to compensate for the other ring's armor reduction. For spenders, we use the same rings as the free-to-play version. In this setup, Mulan should have the highest might, so she inherits the Ring of Nightwolf. Later on, we remove the Ring of Bear and use the Radiant Guardian ring on Mulan to increase our chances to enter the double attack state and to increase the activation chance of our secondary strike skills. We switch the Ring of Nightwolf on Attila. Finally, we remove the Ring of Clover to equip the Lord of Eastern Heavens ring in its place. These archers deal a lot of normal attack and a lot of critical ones, so this will increase our overall damage. For our big Spenders March, we'll use the same rings as the classic Spender composition, and we always make sure to keep the Ring of Night Wolf on the hero with the most might, while keeping Radiant Guardian on Mulan. She now has a lot of chances to enter the double attack state, even a bit too much you could say. However, this ring is still interesting for its secondary strike skill's activation chance bonus, and until it is level 50, the chance to enter double attack is not 100% anyway. Let's now have a look at what we can do after Bellevue is unlocked. Bellevue is both interesting and confusing. Her commander skill doesn't really deal a lot of damage and only targets a single enemy. The might buff from her commander skill is an overkill in my opinion, since her signature skill already gives her a lot of boosts. We'll only use her as a commander in our free-to-play lineup, because Mulan is a better commander overall in all of the tests I've run. Her signature skill feels weird because it will give herself the double attack stance, while archers already have 2 supports that are made specifically for it. This will generate double attack overlaps most of the time, since her chances to enter the double attack stance are already very high when her skill is level 40. The signature skill feels a bit off when you look at warrior archers as a whole, and the armor nerf certainly doesn't help to make it feel better. Her stars are not the greatest, but I feel like rank 1 and 3 are quite good still. Rank 5 is not necessary to get and only is optimization. Go for it if you can, otherwise you're good to go with rank 3 if you want a glass cannon lineup. When it comes to her customizable skills, she has very good ones, but again, some of them feel weird. Dark Flag has all the necessary components to be an amazing skill and could work wonders to support Mulan for instance. It nerfs the enemy's armor and will increase the might of the hero with the highest might. Sadly, the might boost from this skill will almost never buff Mulan but Bellevue herself because of her signature skill, which will almost always make her have the most might sooner or later. The thing is, while this skill certainly looks tempting, Bellevue doesn't need this buff since she already deals a lot of damage thanks to her signature skill, and taking Dark Flag removes a slot that you could use to deal damage instead. So overall, Bellevue feels weird. She could be an amazing DPS oriented support, but she is restrained by the way all of her skills intertwine. However, because she naturally has so much might and great skills, you'll see that despite her flaws, she makes an excellent secondary hero that deals a lot of damage. For our free-to-play lineup, Bellevue, Josephine and Attila will keep the same rings as before. No need for Radiant Guardian this time, as Bellevue really has too much chance to activate her double attack stance, so we'll give her the Ring of Night Wolf since she has tons of might. This composition can evolve by replacing the Ring of Clover by the Lord of the Eastern Heavens ring later on for more damage. For customizable skills, I've made several tests and found that Pay in Blood and Weak Spot Attack provided the best results overall on Bellevue. You can choose to take double attack on Josephine instead of weak spot attack if you want to emphasize on her healing abilities by activating them more often. If you want more damage and want to rely on Attila's signature skill only for the double attack effect, you can keep weak spot attack. That's pretty much it on the free-to-play side. Remember that going for an explosive composition is a personal preference and that you can easily swap the Ring of Bear or the Ring of Night Wolf for tankier rings if you prefer it that way. For spenders, you can aim for Mulan, Bellevue and Attila if you don't have Rani, but this will create a bit of an overlap with Attila's signature skill and Bellevue's signature skill. We'll use the same rings as the last spender version, but we make sure to use the Ring of Night Wolf on Bellevue since she has lots of might. We can optimize the double attack overlap by replacing Attila by Rani, who will only empower Mulan and not all heroes unlike Attila. This also frees Attila from this composition and he can be used for warrior cavalry for instance. With this, you should be good to go until late game and have a pretty good general idea on how these heroes work together. One last note for gems. For Bellevue and Mulan, focus on using gems that will increase your secondary strike's damage and equip gems that will increase your unit's overall attack and your hero's might. Use gems that will increase your might and your troop capacity for Josephine, Rani and Attila. I hope you liked this guide and that the information provided in this video will help you understand and plan your warrior archer lineups better. If so, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth guides. As always, feel free to ask any questions in the comments below and I'll try to answer you to the best of my ability. Finally, I now have a sponsored link for you to download Age of Empires Mobile, so if you want to try it out, check the link in the description. Bye everyone and see you in the next guide.
We still have the victor the dose first roll. He's strong and fierce, giving a lineup its soul. Had a splash of Josephine's light. She brings the healing, making things bright. King Derek's here, but only just. His skills are better with swords, if you trust. Folded, molded, layer with care. The archer's mooncake light as air. Strategy sharp like the finest blade. A warrior's treat, perfectly made. Now comes Mulan with flavor bold. Her strikes are fierce, a sight to behold. Attila supports with a double hit. Mulan shines a perfect fit. The sweet touch of Ronnie soon arrives, empowering Mulan with every drive. Folded, molded, layer with care. The archer's mooncake light as air. Strategy sharp like the finest blade. A warrior's treat, perfectly made. Now comes Mulan with flavor bold. Her strikes are fierce, a sight to behold. Attila supports with a double hit. Mulan shines a perfect fit. The sweet touch of Ronnie soon arrives, empowering Mulan with every drive. Folded, molded, layer with care. The archer's mooncake light as air. Strategy sharp like the finest blade. A warrior's treat, perfectly made. Learn a night wolf with that extra kick. Mulan's might grows fast and thick. Radiant Guardian lights the way. Double strikes come into play. For every layer, for every turn, the archer's power starts to burn. Bellevue steps in, a layer divine with might so strong. Her skills align, though overlaps come, we solve with grace. Ronnie steps in to take Attila's place. The composition grows, layer by layer. The archer's mooncake, beyond compare. Folded, molded, layer with care. The archer's mooncake light as air. Strategy sharp like the finest blade. A warrior's treat, perfectly made. Topped with gems, the final touch. Unit strength and might, so much. Each blade a strike, every layer pure. This mooncake lineup is battle secure.